Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of PNP's Den of Antiquities. And today, I'm gathered with all my friends from across the Star Wars galaxy to talk about Andor Episode 4. What did you guys think? There's a lot packed into this one.
Yes!
Yes!
That's a good way to sum it up.
Yep. So I'm just like the Wii bowling. It's like strike. Dun, 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 dun. But what would you guys rate this out of 10?
Well, I just want to say that it was a very refreshing. Looking forward to longer run times every week rather than like a 27-minute long episode we got from Boba. So with that in mind, I definitely gave this episode an 8 out of 10. My favorite definitely was the tension between Mon and Luthen, discussing the growing number of eyes watching their moves and how they have these facades between the public and internal appearances, I guess, when they talk to each other. From what this feels like, it's definitely the beginning of another 3-part arc. And so I'm just excited to see the rest of it because it's kind of hard to rate when you don't have the full entire story.
Right, for sure. Definitely.
I agree with that. I'd say an 8, probably because just, again, with the tension, but kind of before with that whole arc, it was like backstory, but now we're getting to look forward to whatever's going to happen with this whole plan and then going into the missions. And same, with the kind of eyes on them and everything, and the whole, it's like almost a different style that we see how they show like spies almost. Like in a lot of spy movies, you see, they're a spy and they're like in a tux with a pistol or something. But this one's very much like, I'll bring it up later with the scene where he's, getting in the wig and stuff. Like just that whole like vibe of kind of like it's low key, but it's like, this is just like a spy film still. Okay.
Yeah, he's like living another life. Like he puts on that wig, he's like, Senator, completely different.
That's so cool. I love that.
I'd have to agree with you though. I mean, I was gonna say 8.5, but I think it's around like an 8 to an 8.5. You guys hit the nail on the head though. I think the Easter eggs for me pretty much made the episode, but the entire thing had really good pacing, going back and forth. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I say it's a 9. We got a bunch of Easter eggs, which I know Nick's super excited to get into. But we saw Rebellion in its earliest stage. We see the Rebellion at a grand scale. There's X-Wings and bases and this, that, and the other. Now we see a small little rebel cell getting ready to go do something so close to the Empire. I mean, like right under the Empire's nose, straight Rebellion style. Like I thought that it was a great beginning to the Rebellion. That we've all got to see the Rebellion. Now we get to see such a small group of it. Solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do the same. I'm going to give it a 9. Just the story itself, that little motivational speech that Luther gave Cassian at the very beginning and everything like that. Wanted to, stick the Empire in the eye. And of course, going on to Coruscant and seeing that for the first time in years was amazing. Get to see that, the ISB, and how awesome that boss kind of was. He's a pretty good guy, considered all these things. But going over from that to Mon Mothma's place and just seeing and just brain explosion from all the stuff in the background. The layer of the masks and stuff like that not just like the outfit that character can like put on everything for like the facade. So you had two fights on like two whole fronts. Like the entire episode, you had the ground fight with Cassian that he's getting ready to do the assault for, and you had Mon Mothma on the inside of the fight trying to form the rebellion. So I love this episode. Solid 9.
Nice.
Very cool.
Grant, you're
Yeah, I really like that quote that you said that reminded me of stick him in the eye, because it's like I feel like a super specific quote for the rebellion, because like the Empire or whatnot is always the one that like has everything. They have unlimited supplies. They can go in and just wipe people out, but the rebellion is really just like a thorn in your side. Like they go in, they hit something, they don't have too many people, and then they dip out. I mean, it's like really just like annoying, and obviously the best way, but they're really just like in and out. And it's like, okay, stick them in the eye. Like, don't necessarily kill him, but let's like hit him while we can in the way that we can right now, which is like still in the very beginning of the rebellion.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
locked
that,
into the 9 like you guys. I mean, you guys have really nailed it all there. So I'm gonna keep it short.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that going back to that quote, because I think he says something else too along the lines of like, would you rather like live your life doing like half-assed stuff or like give it all for like one purpose? He's like, you can live like a long like lifeless life and live forever, or he's like, you can live like and serve a purpose and maybe not live as long. I was like, dang, I was like, he's coming with the heat on that one. But yeah, oh no, we lost.
Man down.
We lost something.
All right, well, hopefully he'll come back in. But I thought it was super cool to see Coruscant. I think that's like the first time we've seen that it's like the capital city of the galaxy, right? Because it's like the capital of the Republic and like the Clone Wars, but it's not capital city and anything.
What about
else.
how gray it was?
We seen Coruscant in Kenobi during the training sequence, but words cannot describe the look that's going to be on our faces when we see the Senate room.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I just meant more of like it's never been referred to as like the capital of the galaxy,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Until the
Yeah, especially seeing the ISB building too. You're like, dude, this is definitely like an office.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, that leads into my next thing. It's like, how cool was it to kind of see like not only like more of Coruscant, but like also like more of like the interior workings of the Empire.
Yes.
For sure.
Like,
And how clean and more of
Yeah.
an office setting, or not an office setting, but like a commercial building, whatever. You know what I mean? Like more.
They're like
I
the
would say an
space
office
CIA.
setting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not seeing the inside of the inside of oh man, completely mind blank. But Star Destroyer. You know what I mean? A command room in there. We're actually getting to see a full out conference room. You know, everything's nice, pristine, and clean, and it was neat to see that side of it.
all right, they're definitely taking some. I feel like some inspiration from Blade Runner. I mean, I feel like it makes sense.
Yes,
but everything's a lot more Blade Runner-esque, especially Coruscant. I even felt like maybe it's because I'm watching that new cyberpunk anime or something like that, but I felt like it was very like cyberpunk style. But man, it was so cool. And then we see was the bodyguard guy, his name's Cyril Karn. I wrote it down because I was like, I'm not going to remember that. He was on Coruscant too, right? Like he went to Coruscant as well.
Are we sure about that though?
I don't know.
It never said a location. I assumed it's not because the structure of the building he was in didn't really look very Coruscant, and it looked like he was going down. And if that was like the underworld area, it didn't really have the same feels at all. So I don't think
it was so clean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the airport that he was at, it was very clean in comparison to something I would see on Coruscant for sure.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Like, so like I kind of figured he was going to be like a one and done style character. Like that was kind of all she wrote, where like he was in that arc, he messed up, he served the purpose of the Empire getting into, like he was kind of like the moving forward of like.
I think they gave us too much of him in those first 3 episodes to just toss him aside. I mean, I could see where it would happen, but my mind after this episode, seeing the new ISB officer, can't remember here, the blonde-haired lady. I'm almost wondering if she's going to try to pull him back in, because right now she's got a hard on for that Blevin guy. He shut her down. So.
She was not happy about that.
So I have thoughts that maybe she may go in and try to pull him in, pull in Karn to maybe assist to kind of, hey, let's do some backdoor operations. You already don't listen to anybody anyways. True. So, but I still kind of have hopes he may turn into a rebel.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I was going to get into with the power struggle dynamic, because you have her. She's like, this is here, so this is technically my sector, and he's like, no, it's not. And they're like bickering back and forth basically for control of that little power they have, even though they're the same rank. They both have like the 3 like blue square badge thing. So
did anyone get the impression that she might be his daughter, like the head up general that they both talked to?
I mean, he did say she has more to prove.
I felt like he was gonna say like something at the end, like referring to that, like and say daughter or something like that. But
interesting.
I don't know.
Go back and watch
He
that.
did tell her she has more to prove. I took it as because she was a female. In history of Star Wars, it's always been, men of power and stuff like that. So I kind of took it that. But now that you say that, there could be a little, grandfather, dad, something like that.
Well, also, what was she? Or he said she was something that like. They're like, oh, you were like a bodyguard or something like that, but you
I
like
think she
proved
came from
yourself.
like security forces or something.
Yeah, they're pulling from all the different things. So I mean, maybe who knows? Have we seen that guy, like the main guy from? I feel like I've seen he's been in something else.
Game of Thrones.
I think Game of Thrones.
No, he's like the Maester or the ex-Maester or whatever. But like, has he been in Star Wars before? I feel like I've seen him.
Oh,
in
I don't.
Star Wars.
To me,
so.
I was in my head. I had that was going to be a younger version of the client that we see in The Mandalorian. But after seeing him through this, what we got from him, his speech pattern is way off. So I don't think it is. But his hair, the way his hair was, he totally fit the client's look. But he failed me.
So I'm trying to think of like if there's anything we have I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now. The shop scene's next, right? It's not the she goes to the shop and then she goes to the house, right? That's what happened. Okay. So with the shop, there are so many freaking Easter eggs, and I wrote down some too this time because I want to see, because I know
here.
Nick has.
This is where I'm going to sit back and just let Nick and JT go for it.
Oh yeah. He's already got one. Going. What are some of the Easter eggs that you guys found? I want to hear your guys first. Nice.
Okay, I had, of course, the Sam Witwer Lord Starkiller armor in the back. Plo Koon's mask. Don't know if it was him, but it was actually like that.
A Keldor mask.
Yeah. Jedi holocrons, Sith holocrons, Mortis stone piece of art that could be linked to the Rebels Lothal temple for the World Between Worlds. Carbonite piece of Indiana Jones's whip in there for an Easter egg. Mandalorian armor and a Gungan shield. That's what I got.
Nice. Nick, what about you, man? You're the lore master. So I know you got some more, man.
All right. So first off, the Mandalorian armor. It was cool how it was a bit different than Din Djarin's. It had a lot of different like raised pieces on the chest, and also with the shoulder straps is kind of a continuation of the shoulder, which we haven't seen before.
Kind of looks like Django like mixed with Din's. That.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like a hybrid,
The Sith Stalker armor could be Star Killers, but there's a few differences, like the giant spikes coming out of the top of the helmet.
The pauldron.
The pauldron.
The whole armor set was different besides the helmet.
Yeah.
No, the only other thing besides the helmet that has similarities is the shoulder cufflinks that come down. But then if you look underneath it, there's like another set of them. So there's like two, but it has the same like tracing along the edge of it.
Yeah, it's similar, sure.
On one of the walls in the back, there was a calicori shaped object. I don't know if that was. Right. I don't know if it is a calicori, but it was definitely shaped similar to the one that Hera has. Yep. There was the Keldor breathing mask, the father, daughter, and son tablets. It would be cool if this wasn't the same one as Rebels, because that means there could be other portals to the World Between Worlds throughout the galaxy. Yep. The Gungan shield. There is a Wookiee warrior helmet next to the knives.
Dude, that was bugging me so bad. I was like, I've seen that helmet before. I just don't know who it's from. And then it goes to the back and like scroll through. Like I was like, all helmets in Star Wars. I was like scrolling through all the different helmets. I was like, I know it's somebody. I was like, I can't. But it's like that Wookiee in Revenge of the Sith. That's like he's like the first guy.
Yeah, where he's like up on the thing.
It's like Tusken Raider.
So there is the double-headed blue serpent. That's an actual real Aztec artifact, but they just replaced the heads on either side for rancors. So it'd be cool if that artifact came from a planet where rancors were worshipped, like Dathomir or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What else do I have? The large holocrons. They're very similar to the ones you can find at in Doc Ondar's at Galaxy's Edge up on the rafters.
Those holocrons look like they were doing some juice though, or something like that. Those were like
they were
steroid holocrons.
Yeah,
that's first live action holocrons, right?
There was one in
the other one was
Solo
Sith
at the
Wayfinder.
very, very end.
That doesn't count.
How dare!
So there are. I found 3 Indiana Jones references. One was the whip. Behind the whip in carbonite, it looked like there was a fertility idol in there.
Yep.
And then in the back wall next to the holocrons, I saw like a few stones that looked like the Sankara stones from Temple of Doom. Could be, couldn't be, I don't know. And then the very last one I found is a very deep cut Legends character, so definitely bear with me on this one. So Luthen describes the piece of art he lends to Mon as a sun goddess and serpent from the overworld sharing the same mouth. So to me, these words became very similar to a legend character called Abeloth. I think that's how you pronounce Abeloth.
Abeloth.
Scary.
So she was an extremely powerful force entity. I had to look her up because I wasn't sure how much information I knew about her. So if this information that I found was wrong, definitely let me know. But she was a servant who lived with the father, son, and daughter, and later became known as the mother. So with that, it made me feel like that presumed to be a sun goddess. But then since she was mortal and wanted to live a longer life with the rest of her family, she drank from a pool of knowledge, corrupting her actions and turning herself into the bringer of chaos, or a serpent coming through her face. Like I said, this could all mean nothing, but it's cool. It's a cool parallel that I found between the characters.
I'm gonna test your homework, see if you studied right.
Long have I waited.
Who was able to defeat Abeloth?
It was Luke and somebody else, wasn't it? It was like a Luke and like a couple. It was a couple people.
Yeah, Luke is definitely one of them, right?
Yeah, but I don't know who else. It was who's the big bad in Legends? Who's the
Legacy.
other big bad? Who's the other
Legacy villains?
Sith. Yeah, he was like the other Sith. I don't know who.
One might say Tusken.
I don't remember.
He was Asherad Het.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Darth Krayt. Darth Krayt and Luke put aside their differences to take out the big bad.
Yeah,
that's
because he's considered a
like
wound
a world
in
ender.
the Force, kind of like Nihilus.
Yeah.
But dude, do I have the speaking stick now? Do I have the?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Okay, so yes, the Wookiee helmet, also the Wookiee horn. There's like a ceremonial
I
horn.
didn't notice that.
The club that Luthen hands, that he starts off speaking about with the spikes on the end of it. When he first held that out on the screen, I thought it was like a Night Brother weapon from like Dathomir. But then he described it, I forget the name of it, but it's actually an Utapau, like a Powin weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody said something about I don't know how to pronounce it. Yasilamiri? It's like the thing that
the creature
that's wrong to have. Yeah.
I think one of those were in carbonate or something.
Huh. Yeah, I totally missed that.
And right in front of the Starkiller armor, in front on the table, there's like a dagger. We are thinking,
nice,
yeah,
that's what it is right there.
Yep.
We were thinking that could be the live action interpretation of the Mortis dagger, which would make sense because if they're able to get the stones, which those clearly are the stones from Mortis, there's no other explanation. You can't convince me otherwise. Those are the Mortis stones. I think the shop in general is displaying these artifacts like they are out of reach things that highest end collectors can't get their hands on, because that's why they're displaying all these artifacts, like Sith Stalker prototype armor, Mandalorian armor that looks like it could be Beskar. I mean, no, that's not cheap. That's something you want to display. These are really expensive artifacts. Keldor mask, that's cool too.
I really hope that's Plo Koon's. In my backstory, he got some scavenger who went and like salvaged the wreckage of like Plo Koon's ship, and that's what he grabbed.
He blew up on Cato Nemoidia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was flying through that. Yeah, so if that is this mask that comes all the way from another planet in some sort of explosion wreckage, which would be pretty cool.
We've seen crazier.
What Nick was talking about with that sun and serpent interpretation. One was I've seen someone's theory on this. One was that it's a species interpretation of the light and the dark side. So that's like culture. Like they're trying to vent, I guess, by creating these stone tablets and stuff. Like the sun is the light, but everybody has a little bit of dark deep down inside, which is why the serpent's on the inside portion of it. And then yes, like Nick was saying, Abeloth, because she's this beautiful figure, and then she is venomous. The serpent, and that rabbit hole goes very deep. Sinkhole Station, trapping her in black hole, Maw of the Void, all that stuff. She is one of those Legends characters that you're just not gonna be. You need the Son of the Chosen One, and you need a very powerful Sith to put aside their differences. But yeah, very very cool stuff. That shop pretty much made the episode for me. An Easter egg. So
I don't know if it's an Easter egg. I didn't recognize it at all, but nonetheless, it's super cool. When the lady officer is talking to the guy in I think it's his quarters, I think you only see it when she walks away. It's like the last shot of that scene. There's like a gun that he has on the table, and it looks like a elongated lever action without a lever. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I mean either way, it looked bad.
Going back to watch that now.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
I saw something and I'm like, what is that? It's super long, it's out of place with all the white. And so I paused it. I went back and paused it, and I was just like, that thing looks dope. And I was like, someone's gonna be making it for some cosplay soon.
Right.
Oh, two more things actually. One, there was another set of that Sith Stalker armor.
In the back.
In the back, but you only see the back of its helmet with the big fan things coming off the back. You see the one in the main room, but as they're talking in that back room, it's turned around. So they had another set of it. Beats me. And then the other thing,
got the reach, man.
He's got the plug. But the other one was when they're at the camp, and I think it's when the Imperial fake impersonator dude comes into the camp on a swoop bike with the costumes and stuff. I think it's when Clem, Cassian's made up name, it's when he's getting his wound patched. The medicine that she administers to him is in a green vial, and if you know Bacta's blue.
Of course.
So that reminds me of the stims from Fallen Order. Yeah. So that's a little cool bit. Plus, it came in a little tube too, so it makes sense,
It is questionable. I wonder if what's his name, the dude that put the wig on and stuff, the old guy. Yeah. I mean, it almost makes you wonder, is that really his shop? Because I know he pulls strings and he's high up somewhere, but I was curious. I'm he's putting on a whole facade to go in there. I'm did he kill the other guy that owned it and stuff? He quit and I'm replacing him and did this whole thing because he seems to be rebellion, a good guy, he's playing both sides, but it's the same story for most people. I think in the early days of rebellion, like Cassian says, we all did bad things. So it makes me wonder who is this guy really? Because I feel like his character's probably so much more in depth than we're seeing right now, and I feel like he's definitely I'm gonna get whatever done to do this because he seems like the front of everything right now.
So I feel like he needs to have more than just being a shop owner because he's kind of co-running the rebellion right now.
Yeah.
So it's that'd be kind of hard for me to believe that a shop, a wealthy shop owner was screw the Empire. We're gonna go play the rebellion game.
I don't know. I think it's perfect because I think it's just high enough standards where he can have that disguise, but have it not be suspicious. I think
Fair
it's
enough.
perfect, like in plain sight.
He's
Job.
definitely lost something though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause I was
For him
saying,
to
what
have that
drives
drive.
him? Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. And then we get to the Mon Mothma's, I guess, like house with her husband, which like I didn't even know she had. I always feel like she was just like like she didn't date anybody.
I'm gonna say
She
it
was
now. That guy's a dick.
We're all thinking it.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen to him. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
as soon as I saw him, I was like, he's not in anything else. He's gonna die. So-
Well, I
and
think
also,
like
too,
in the
it's like-
previews, they show him. You know, he asks, you know, what are you involved in? You know,
yeah.
so we at least get him for another episode, but hopefully somebody walks in and clips him like they did Tim. So
Well, it's like no, he obviously knows. Like I guarantee you, Mon Mothma probably talks politics like all the time and gives all the dirt to him. So he knows, and he's like, you know what? I'm having this like what it was like a coming of age, like it's like a birthday thing or something like that. And he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna invite Emperor Palpatine's entire staff to the party.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
And for those who need a refresher, Masa Amida and Sly Moore at the time of the prequels were the only two that knew Palpatine's that he was Sidious.
Yeah.
Basically. And I was telling these guys right before this went live, I called it because I did. You could go to the watch party, man. I went,
I'll vouch for it. I was there.
Sly Moore. Bald lady, we winning. What are we having for dinner? Chicken? Okay, cool.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Sly Moore and Masa Amida are always behind Palpatine. Like anytime there's like an just like a Senate discussion, they're always behind him.
Yeah, she's that spooky hoe that when he's talking about Plagueis, he's like, and she looks over.
She's force sensitive, isn't she?
Yeah,
Yes.
she is.
Yes.
She's in
So
the
that's
newer
what I'm saying,
Vader
like,
comics.
Dude, this dinner is going to be so hot, man.
I really hope
I
we
know.
can see it.
I mean, you know, Mon Mothma's going to have to definitely start turning some stuff off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If not, and all that stuff sitting on the front of her head, she's getting busted.
And
I mean, good thing for us, we know how it ends, but
Right.
still.
But I also didn't, because I didn't know who the first person was. I think his name's Ayers Dengar, not Dengar, because that's the bounty hunter. But he's the guy in, I think it's either Empire or I actually
Return of the Jedi.
It's Return of the Jedi, and he's behind Palpatine with like another person. I don't know the other person's
Yeah,
name.
with the purple and the big hat.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
So they're basically, it's like all of Palpatine's like close homies. Like, and he's just like,
Evil
God.
artist. Yeah.
But you can tell, like, her husband is definitely using her position to bring all these folks in just to make himself feel better. You know what I mean?
For sure.
He's just somebody riding
yeah.
coattails. And I think that's what's going to get him clipped up, because he's going to probably try to snitch on her to those guys or something like that. And then it's just going to go the wrong way.
Oh yeah, she was not happy. She was like,
Yeah.
well played, but you could see there's like venom in her eyes.
Yeah. Well,
and
he's
stuff
like, you can sit at the boring end or something like that. Or I'm at the fun end or something.
Yeah.
So
Dude, she lights him on fire. She's like, fun end. Okay. How
Yeah.
about all the shipping lanes that your
Yes.
friends closed down and thousands of people? He's like, just instantly like lighting them on fire.
This dinner,
it's
I
more
imagine, is
fun.
going to have the vibe of like you're at Thanksgiving and there's that one family member that you only see like once a year, but you know him from doing some like sketchy stuff. So you're like,
A family drug dealer or something.
I can imagine, because we know what from Return of the Jedi and everything else. Mon Mothma isn't well known on Coruscant. She's kind of on the run and stuff like that. So I don't think she'll be staying on Coruscant too long. So I would not put it past what you said, man. Like something would probably go bad. Where like I gotta get out of here.
I think the husband is going to rat her out, because I mean, they don't seem to get along, and I forget which one of you guys said it, but they said you guys said like she must tell him a bunch of stuff, but just based off like their relationship, how it looks like
he only just married her for the sweet.
I don't think she tells him anything, and I think they're setting him up to be that like character you see in movies that you don't see much, and then they're like, hey, that's the bad guy, go get him, and then that's like the last you see him, and you're just like, wow, you rat him out.
Yeah.
I hate you. I feel like he's gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of this kind of like ragtag crew that we got? It was giving me very Solo vibe. I don't know why. Like when they're doing like the snow heist at the very beginning, Like, I don't know why. It just gave me that
Andor?
sort of.
Yeah.
Just really quick before we move on, I wanted to bring something up about the Gormans that she joked about. So they, so she said that the Empire recently cut off their shipping lanes, and I looked into it more because I was like, this name sounds really familiar to me. And so this name drop is really important because in a few years, the Gormans will be massacred by the Imperials, which will then cause Mon to speak out, leave the Senate, and then formally become the face of the rebellion. So if they choose to go that route, then that's kind of why they name drop the Gormans now.
That's cool.
Maybe, yeah.
See that in season 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably. Unless they have a season 3. Then
Well,
we'll see
so
season
I want to
3.
say in Rebels, I can't say that this is right after that, but in Rebels, they go save her and they bring her in. 'Cause
Right,
she's
yeah,
all
she's-
over all the stuff. So
Yeah,
I
she's being
think-
followed and stuff.
Yeah. But I wonder, is the timeline, I guess that would have been right after she spoke out, right? Give or
I would
take so?
assume so then, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, continue now with the next
No,
story.
no, I was just going to say, like,
Podcast is done. Easter egg.
Yeah, we're done. No,
Nick closed us out.
but yeah, that's the kind of, I guess the final thing is like just talking about kind of like the heist. They're kind of gearing up for this heist. What do you guys think kind of about the ragtag crew, and like what are you? I thought the heist idea sounded pretty cool, and then like the shooting stars or whatever. I was like, that's going to be a really
that
cool
whole layout,
scene.
man.
That's right.
We saw a
And what
little
did-
bit.
What did the chick say too? She's like, "Why did I think he said why did no one bother to do this?" And she said, "Because no one's crazy enough to do it. That's why we're doing
Yeah.
it."
Yeah.
So,
I think we see a little bit of that shooting star sequence in the trailer of when like there's all this like fire and stuff going past Andor when he's flying the ship with the TIE
Oh,
fighters. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
assuming I'm assuming that's like the blanket of asteroids covering the sky in their escape.
Ooh, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited for that now.
Because stuff's going to go to shit. Like they're like,
for
oh yeah,
sure.
we got a plan, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
are you
Well,
sure?
exactly.
What could be their
gonna
savior?
get killed.
What could be their savior is like they're talking about how they're taking this big old ship, and he's like, "This is never going to work." But I feel like that ship's just going to get beat to crap and survive all those. But also on top of that, we know TIE fighters like can't fly through asteroids to save their life. Like every scene that they go,
They're
they
magnets.
hit everything. So I think they're going to get away just like barely, and that ship's just going to get beat up. But that'll be like their lifesaver, and keep them alive.
Yeah.
Brad, who did you say you thought was gonna? You said somebody was gonna die.
The young kid, because he's way too positive. You know what
Oh,
I mean? And sadly,
yeah.
somebody in that position always,
Yeah.
they never
Yeah.
make it out. But I'm almost kind of got a feeling that he may be force sensitive or something. Because I mean, how he says he feels about how he feels about Andor. He knows he's true and stuff like that.
True.
So I think there's something more to that kid. I mean, we'll probably never see it, but he's definitely got some good feels to him.
Chopper's gonna push him out of the out of the exhaust, and he's gonna fall out.
Another thing that I found really cool about this small group, it gives Rogue One a bit more of a better understanding of why Andor was so adamant in saying like, oh, this is gonna work really well with a small team and we can do this, because now we see that he's done it, or assuming he's done it before. So it'll carry into Rogue One really nicely.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I like how Cassian gives Jen, I wouldn't just say this in like the previous one, gives Jen so much crap for not caring about the cause and like stealing and being a thief. And that's exactly what
That's
he
where he
was.
came
Yeah.
from. Yeah.
I was like, you
Hypocrite.
hypocritical
Hey,
piece of crap.
they're always gonna rewrite canon. So like the term canon is like the most loose thing that anyone can ever say. So
Loose
just
canon, you could
He's just projecting.
yeah.
Yeah. I've been in this fight since I've been 6 years old, stealing from the Empire.
Did you see me? I shot that separatist officer like 50 times with a blow dart. You think that's
That was a rough day.
Well, I think that's all I have. Do any of you guys have anything else for the? It was pretty. I say short, but it was like that was pretty much. It was a lot of Easter eggs with like a little bit of like. It's still kind of world building, right? We're still kind of setting up for the ball to drop. I think really these next 2 episodes are going to be intense. So, but if you guys got anything else, please.
I've got a few more, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So in terms of a few more Easter eggs, at the ISB meeting, We get a few planet name drops, including one called Arvala 6, which is the sister planet to Arvala 7, where Din meets Queel and Grogu for the first time.
Okay.
So Luthen gives Cassian a type of blue kyber crystal as a down payment. He continues to explain that it celebrates the uprising against the Rakatan invaders.
Oh, the Rakata!
I knew I had to bring it up.
It hit me too. That's why I was like, I forgot.
It's like a slap in the face. Wake up! Say it!
So I'm sure someone else can go into a bit more detail about the Rakatans, because I don't know much about them. And
they're Old Republic, right? Like that's
very old, very
a
old
lot.
Very old.
So
like
sorry, can you?
Oh no, man! I was just saying they're ridiculously old. Back when like the first big split came of like the Jedi, then the Dark Jedi, then they went the Korriban and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, the Rakata. They helped with the Starforge and everything like that. Find the blueprints for that for Revan and Malak and everything back in the day.
Because they were part of the KOTOR game, right? I believe.
Yep.
I've never played it, but okay.
It's great, man. As soon as I seen that and heard that, I was like, man, that's a deep cut from back in the day. I'm listening, but I wasn't. Still,
they're probably trying to establish some of that stuff because they're definitely going one back. Like that, I would be surprised if here in the next 5 years we don't have some sort of like old. That's not a book. Some sort of Old Republic kind of content, whether it be a TV show or a movie or something like that. I definitely think they're going to go back and hit that because there's such a big audience for that.
We're slowly going further back in time because now we're getting Acolyte. So I wonder if we'll get something now a bit further back in history.
Dude, I'm about it.
That could
I'm
mean
ready.
anything, though. Acolyte could mean anything,
Yeah. I literally hope it's like a Game of Thrones style thing.
Oh, that'd be
just
great.
Like Sith like taken out, like like Hunger Games meets Game of Thrones, just like
Space dragons.
Space.
I will say, so like I know they're doing like the 3-session arc style, so that would explain why they didn't, but they haven't, or they didn't show in this episode anything that had to do with any of the flashbacks. So I know before we were talking about like, what's it going to take it back to and anything. I wonder if that's done with or if they are going to go back to it, because obviously we don't see his mom. I think
it's season 2 that we're getting most of the flashbacks.
There has to be more flashbacks in this though, because that's the only reason to explain the clone's appearance. Because this far into the Empire, there's no clones.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
It'll probably be after this arc. I would say the rest of this arc is probably going to be them like setting up to do the heist, them doing the heist, and it's probably going to cut us off on like a cliffhanger of like they'll get like halfway through the heist or something like that. Something will happen, and then it'll just be like dun dun.
Yeah.
So then is this 12 episodes this season?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's good. Then, we're not stuck to 6. You know what I mean?
Well, my buddy Nick, Nick Holness, he said next season they're going to be jumping time. Like was it every episode or every 3 episodes? They're going to be shaving. They're going to be shaving off years like pretty quick next season.
Yeah,
that was just something I was guessing that would be cool, but I don't know.
Lead directly into Rogue One. I remember hearing about that. My only small little last little thing for me was, I love the shooting location. I know this was filmed during the 2020 horrible year and everything like that, but like seeing like the mountains and stuff like that and realizing what like CGI or green screen.
Like Iceland or
I was gonna say one of the
Scotland or something.
I think it was
Finland, Sweden.
It was amazing.
What about the TIE fighter? I mean, you hear the whoop,
that was like
get down
serotonin,
and then
I was totally expecting to be like far off, and then it's like right there, and I'm like sitting in my room with the surround sound all up. Comes by and like, dang. Yeah,
and then he's still all nervous, and she's like, "Don't worry, they're done for the day.
That's normal."
She knows the process, man.
No, the amount of joy that I felt like when we got like actual like Empire stuff, because I was like, at first I was kind of like, okay, like these like freaking like mall cop guys are like, okay, I guess. whatever. But as soon as we got like any Empire stuff, I was like, Empire, let's go.
What about that shutdown when Blevin shows up at the office and he's got all three of them there?
Oh yeah.
The bigger guy, he goes to raise his hand. He's like, for real? Yeah,
I wasn't even here.
the whole thing, and then how he just puts Karn down. He's like, you know, you're proud, you're tough, and then you know what, pack your stuff.
Under imperial occupation.
And I like the boss. He's like, I don't know anything about it. He's like, yeah, that's pretty obvious.
and that's where they twist your mind too, because like when you see him fail after the chief, you know, telling him, don't do that, and then he ends up doing it and costing like more corporate lives, you'd think he'd be severely punished, but if you didn't give him a lead, maybe he would. But since he, you know, basically put them on that track, he was kind of rewarded in a way.
Well, so he really didn't hurt the Empire. I think if he would have if it would have been like Imperial troops or something like that, then he would have been in command.
Yeah, corporate's disposable too. You know, that's like that's like the great value brand of the Empire.
Empire was just waiting for a reason to take over.
Oh yeah.
He said, "You put the nail in the coffin on corporate security."
One other thing I wanted to bring up about the ISB meeting was we get our first small step towards Rogue One with the name drop of Scarif and wanting more protection because of the increased shipping construction. So I'm really hoping we get little things, maybe not every episode, but at least some things occasionally bringing us closer to that time period and what the Empire or the Rebels are doing to lead up to Rogue One.
And seeing the trailer for Andor too, and seeing that main blonde ISB chick walking with two Death Troopers behind her, I'm like, dude.
Oh yeah.
Any excuse to see Death Troopers as well, man.
I'm excited for the
green
light.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what she brings to the table too. Like, I don't know what it is about her, but like she just like screams like an Imperial like agent. And I'm like, I was like, you're gonna do good. Like, you're gonna kill this role. So I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. The final thing I'm gonna leave you guys with, and I want to get your opinions. Do you think either in season one, maybe we'll just do season one. It's on season one. Do you think we're either gonna see Darth Vader or the Emperor in season one?
Emperor for sure.
I think
he's gonna.
The Emperor has more of a chance with the Senate and all that.
I don't think they'll do Vader again just because it'll seem like too much fan service.
I don't know.
Like, we don't need
Vader sells. You can strap Vader on anything.
Yeah, you can, of course. I mean, we wouldn't mind. No one would mind.
Yeah, we're not going to complain.
I think the writers and directors said they really wanted to stay away from the whole force users and everything, and kind of have a more grounded in reality show, which is great. I love that. So I definitely don't think we're going to see Vader. Also, just because we saw him in Kenobi, so people might be just like maybe a bit overwhelmed. But like you said, I don't think anyone will be like that either.
But do you think we even get like a mention of him? Maybe like, what if they like the rebels are talking to be like, oh, this guy just like cut down all of us, like, you know, he like took out like, a whole battalion or something.
Making him seem like scarier in the background.
Mentioning Starkiller. I mean, building his physical helmet for the set is enough for me.
Oh yeah. I never thought we would get that in a million years.
I think
that's the last thing I would expect. And you know how much of a stan I am for the Force Unleashed. You know. So.
Yeah. I think I'd be happy just like if we do see Palpatine in a different, like in his chambers or something. Maybe you just see him talking to you. Just see like the back of Vader and like a hologram or something. He's like, oh, do this or whatever. And then someone comes in and he's like, you know, shuts it off. I think I'd be happy.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, since we're getting his whole crew showing up for... Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, I was going to say, since his whole crew showing up for dinner, you know, at 8, for all we know, somebody pops off to the bag, pops up a little thing, and, you know, this is what we're catching.
What if Palpatine just showed up to the dinner? Just was like,
oh my God.
Everybody's just like,
the guest of honor is here.
He hovers in all fluff.
Man, yeah, it just, he's on planet, so I mean, it wouldn't put it past seeing, you know, the Emperor, Lord Sidious, because right now he is literally, he after he ransacked the Jedi Temple, that's literally like his place now. Since that like Sith shrines like under that and everything, so that's his main place.
That's
other than that,
that's the crib.
Yeah, of course the great Senate building. So Wouldn't put it past like the very final episode or just something like that. It's again, depends on how far like it goes for like if someone wants to get a little mouthy, and remember not a lot of people know who Sidious is. So if someone's like, I'm tired of this job, I'm gonna go see a supervisor or something. And like, no, don't go in there. And you see him like go there, just see glowing yellow eyes, shut the door. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like you said, not a lot of people know who Sidious is exactly, because even though he was God, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, those traitors Jedi, man.
He's still a chancellor. They still see him as a chancellor. He just looks
different. He's a good guy.
But I think that's why I'm so hyped to see this dinner scene, because characters like Sly Moore, who are, the wing people that knew this secret, those white contacts that stare into your soul. She's in the new Vader comics too. I'm just curious to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, this is nuts. We had this whole spy series with guns and blasters and everything. We're all sitting here worrying about dinner time. So amped in, locked in on this one spot, man.
I think that would be nice to see.
Hey, this dinner time is still in sense of spy, because she is rebellion, and she has to kind of weasel her way in and make it seem like
the tension is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, she's got
time just to go to sleep until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. I think that kind of wraps up. Do you guys want to shout out to all your social medias real quick? We'll go with Charlie. We'll go with you first, man.
Yes, sir. Charlie Lone Wolf Thomas at Instagram. Find me there. And, of course, like 1,000 Charlies on YouTube. But if you find one with the green background, the wooden Bo-Katan sword, that's me. Other than that, that's all I got. I have spoken.
Very cool. Very cool. Nick, you want to go next?
You can find me on Instagram at CGS_props. From there, you can find my shop to Etsy as well.
Very cool. Very cool. JT, want to
go? Just my Instagram, JT Lovecraft.
Very cool. Very cool. Michael, you want to go next?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Darth Cemerias, and I do prop making and cosplay. And I just, as you guys saw, the little sneak peek finished my cosplay.
Dude, that was lit. Dude, that was so cool.
I'll be posting more with that. So.
Super hyped to see that. And then Brad, you want to go next?
Find me on Instagram at Dragon_Hosk, and then hit the link tree, and there's TikTok and Twitter and whatever.
Oh, and nice. And also Vanguard Mandalorian Grant.
Yes.
Instagram.
Fallen soldier.
We're gonna get him going. We're gonna get him. I'm gonna sit down
for about 3 minutes, and then he bailed.
Yeah.
He was still here though, and it'd be unfair to
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna sit down with him and get that all settled, and we'll figure out what's going on with him. You guys can find me at PMPs_den on basically anything, and then I'm gonna shout out my business too, because it's dropping tomorrow. I've been doing a whole bunch of different stuff. If you guys like video game stuff, if you guys like Star Wars stuff, I have a whole plethora of 3D models, and then I also 3D print stuff too. So go check that out. And as always, may the Force be with you.